Hello everyone, my name is Nero Raven and welcome to the Xander Zone. Now this episode was written way back when Ruin pretty much released, almost right after we finished our Let's Play series on the channel. However, it didn't release what I wanted to as I had an emergency, as some of you know. If you however would like to know more about what happened, I'll have the video on the top right of the screen right now and in the description. It outlines what happened and how the channel is changing as a result. So if you're a new or old viewer, I highly recommend checking it out. Now, about this video, we will be covering the likelihood of a new Aftons/M and family is being built in what I'll be calling the new era of FNAF, which starts with Help Wanted 1, and specifically we will be starting with Security Breach, as that's our most information point, as well as Ruin. So we will go over the theory for each character and who they would represent, show evidence for and against the theory, and then what I think is the likeliness of this happening. Otherwise, if you enjoy this video, hit that like and subscribe button as we have a goal of 300 subs by the end of the year. While you're at it, share this video with your friends and family as every single bit helps. Make sure to comment any theories or just how your day was down below, and maybe you'll appear in one of my next videos. Otherwise, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so this theory actually got help from you guys during my FNAF Ruin streams on Twitch, and let me tell you, you guys helped me out so much with this theory. So thank you to everyone who was in that stream. So now let's get into the theory. First, I want to start with the parallels between Cassie, Cassie's father, and Charlotte Emily, and Henry Emily, as well as the parallels between Roxy and the puppet. So let's talk about first Cassie and Charlotte. So Cassie is a young female like Charlotte who likes the Freddy Fazbear establishments. Cassie was obsessed with one animatronic, which is Roxy. Now, as we don't have any proof of Charlotte being obsessed with any animatronic ever, I do want to say that it's likely the puppet was her favorite, or it was a close second or third maybe, as the puppet would have been giving her gifts as well as just protecting her when she was bullied. Now, I'm going to use their fathers to draw even more of a connection between the two. Cassie's father, as we don't know much about him, is a technician at the Pizzaplex, is obsessed with Bonnie, and also knows what happened to Bonnie, possibly knowing more than the average worker. Now, Henry Emily specifically worked on the animatronics, making him a technician. He was also father to Charlotte and is co-founder of the Freddy Fazbear franchise, and he obviously knew more about the establishments than the average worker, being co-founder. Now, he wasn't obsessed with really one animatronic in particular like Cassie's father, but we know Henry loved all of his creations. Now, there's one last character I want to compare here, Roxy and the puppet. Honestly, there aren't many similarities except for their actions. The puppet was meant to protect Charlotte. Roxy, as she wasn't meant to protect any specific child, she seemed to have a special connection to Cassie. The puppet fought tooth and nail to protect Charlotte, even though the puppet failed and as a result collapsed next to Charlotte and became possessed. Roxy also fought tooth and nail to protect Cassie from the Mimic and failed and presumably found Cassie later on, possibly either staying with her unalived body or also collapsing due to the fight with the Mimic. So now that we have everything laid out, let's piece it together. Cassie is similar to Charlotte for these reasons. They are both young female characters with fathers who work on the animatronics and know more than the average worker about the establishment. Both are unalived by someone who they thought were friendly but wasn't, in this case for Cassie being Mimic pretending to be Gregory and Charlotte being William. They also both had connections to a specific animatronic, Roxy for Cassie and Puppet for Charlotte. Roxy would have been near Cassie during the time of her unaliving, just like the puppet would have been near during the time of Charlotte's unaliving. However, there are issues with this theory. First of all, we don't know if Roxy is actually near Charlotte or if she even finds her at the end of Ruin. Considering the Mimic can mimic any voice, Roxy's voice at the end credits could just be the Mimic. Second, we don't know much about Cassie's father, and it's hard to really say anything set in stone with him, as we haven't really seen or heard him, we just know small things about him. However, the connection between Roxy and the puppet is strong, especially if it is Roxy at the end credits and Roxy does find Cassie. Lastly, Charlotte, as I do think the puppet would have been her favorite or close favorite, we don't have any proof of that. So me personally, I think this theory is likely, however it does have its issues. But let's say this theory is true, what do I think happened? Well, I think it happens just like in the game. Cassie goes to the Pizzaplex worried about her friend Gregory. She enters and goes through the Pizzaplex and eventually comes across the Mimic. Right before the Mimic grabs Cassie, Roxy jumps in to defend Cassie, or to at least give her time to escape. Despite her best efforts, Roxy fails and the Mimic starts to chase Cassie. The chase, however, ends with the Mimic, not wanting any outsiders to let people know of his existence, cuts the elevator cord to the elevator Cassie is in. This fall unalives Cassie. Roxy, however, reactivates after the Mimic left and goes to search for Cassie. She knows Cassie ran where the forklift crashed, and she found the elevator. Roxy, worried, tries to find a way down and does. Or she doesn't, and she just says Cassie's name down the elevator. If Roxy gets near Cassie, or maybe her just lean over the elevator, Cassie's spirit, her remnant, possesses Roxy. Not overriding it or taking over, but existing side by side with the Roxy programming. Roxy and Cassie now have a mission: stop the Mimic and protect those it does or tries to hurt. Honestly, I think this would be so cool to happen, and I hope it does. But I want to get into the next part of the theory, which is Oh boy, do I have a long section here. Alright, let's get started with the similarities. First off, in the Afton family, there's one daughter and two sons, Elizabeth, crying child, and Michael. Here we have one female and two males, Vanessa, Gregory, and Freddie. Now we can presume that in the Afton family, the three children were influenced by William in many ways, especially Elizabeth. In our new Afton family, they're influenced at some point by the Mimic, especially Vanessa. However, within these two families, there's one guy who always fought back. Michael fought back against William, and Freddie fought against the Mimic. Despite the dangers of their, well, in this case, I'll just say fathers, they fought for what is good for the world. Michael, despite being a total jerk to the crying child, did care about him and wanted to protect him like any other older brother. Freddie, as not a jerk, can be a little stupid at times, like refusing to go into GJ Music Man's area for a time. However, he cares a lot for Gregory, who will be our crying child in this Afton family. Now, Gregory doesn't really have many similarities to the crying child. Gregory, as he is creeped out by the animatronics, isn't deathly afraid of them, and even when he is creeped out by them, it's their endoskeleton, not their casings. The only evidence we have of Gregory being our crying child is he would fit best in the role of a young boy child who's protected by a bigger person. We also have Gregory in one of the endings eating a Golden Freddy popsicle, and that's about it. Except for like Glamrock Freddy says to him in the beginning of the game when Gregory and Freddy are rowing below the Pizzaplex, and Freddy tells Gregory you are broken before charging to the medical area. Now, I know it's William that says this to the crying child, but let me cook here. It's shown that spirits can forget things, even who they are while in these suits. What if Michael is in Glamrock Freddy and is remembering the bite of A3 just not in the correct way? We know that in the FNAF movie, the kids who were unalive forgot who even unalived them in the first place. Now, for now, I'm using the movies like the books. They aren't canon to the games, but can imply things. So what if Michael just possessed Glamrock Freddy, and when Freddy went to the FNAF 6 location to help Vanny and Michael after being unalived at least twice, maybe 3 times if we count FNAF 3, who's to say he didn't just lose some of his memory? Plus, this is cut content, but in Security Breach, Freddy was supposed to say to Gregory that he recognizes him from somewhere.
Gregory,
he doesn't...
I know why you are not in the customer database. I remember you from the...
He doesn't recognize Gregory, he just sees Gregory, who looks like the crying child, and that's what gives him that I recognize you from somewhere. Michael can't remember his younger brother anymore, but he knows his importance. So, what goes against this theory? Well, Vanessa doesn't have many similarities to Elizabeth except for the fact that she likes ice cream and is a female character with blonde hair and was influenced by the Mimic to unalive people, like how Elizabeth was influenced by William to do the same. Freddy does have a lot more evidence towards him, and how he acts and what he says throughout the game. I'd probably say there is something more to Glamrock Freddy than meets the eye. Gregory is the same as Vanessa. There isn't many similarities, but there are some, in terms of how they look, and there's a connection to Fredbear. However, I do believe this is our new Afton family, not one-to-one, but a new family. Vanessa, Gregory, and Freddy. Freddy being our old familiar face to guide Vanessa and Gregory to fight the Mimic, as Michael fought them so many years ago. I think that this is honestly pretty likely, or at least it has evidence to it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have its flaws either. There's connections and things that also separate them even further. If I had to rate this theory, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for likeliness. I do think it's likely that in some way we are getting a new Emily and Afton family. I just don't think it's as one-to-one as some of us may think. So overall, I'm excited to see what happens next, especially with Help Wanted 2. But now, without further ado, let's get right into the outro. Alright, well that's all I have for this episode. I worked really hard on this one, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Now this video should be coming out the week after my procedure, so just in case I disappear for the rest of the month, do not worry guys. I am okay, I'm just very sore and need some rest. I should be back at full power in January. However, if you did like this video, as always, hit that like and subscribe button as we have a goal of 300 subs by the end of the year. Share this video with your friends and family as every bit helps, and comment down below your theories or just how your day was, and you could appear in one of my next videos. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next video. Merry Christmas and peace out. Cassie's father, as we don't know much about him, is a technician at the Pizzaplex. Who just texted me, man?